So now, in the last part, we discussed about the basics or the fundamentals of the package manager, how it works, everything. So here, this time we are going to do the synchronization from the remote repository to the local repo. So here, as an example, we are doing the synchronization of Docker CE repository. Okay, so I have a Linux machine, a CentOS machine, which has internet access. So So I'm basically discussing about the way to synchronize this remote repository to the local directory. So see if the number of packages are less, you can manually download the package, or you can get this package from a DVD or a USB. So in this example, I'm showing how to automatically synchronize the remote repository. So this is basically just to refresh or recap. Uh, Here we are trying to synchronize a repository in a machine which has internet access, and this will be distributed to this can be used to distribute to the remaining machines which is in the local network, and this will act as the mirror repository for all the local network instead of like the external public repository. So let's take the example of Docker. So our repo file, I have already downloaded the repo file here. So here, this is the repo file, Docker CE repo. Let's open the repo file. Yeah, so we can see this is the enabled repository in the Docker. So Docker CE stable, this is the stable repository, and remaining it has a debug info source. So we are looking at this particular repository, and if you see, this is the only one enabled, remaining are all disabled. Okay, so let us go to the base URL. So here, if you see, this will get automatically replaced with the release version. So we are using CentOS 8, right? So CentOS, then this will get replaced with 8, and base architecture, this is 64-bit operating system, so it will be like x86. So let's see. Let's first try to open this URL in the browser. Let's open till here. Then, oh, sorry, I think I have used an additional character. That's the reason there is an equal to. Okay, let's open this. So now you can see this has so many directories inside. This is basically different repositories. The latest version of CentOS is 9. So we are discussing right now about 8 because our operating system is 8. Okay, so here if you go inside, okay, so this shows like the repositories for various versions. CentOS 8.1, 8.2, 8.3. It shows like the operating system for various version, and simply 8 means that is going to be the repo for the latest version of CentOS 8. Okay, so here ours is x86-64. Okay, so our operating system, it's a 64-bit operating system, and here ours is stable. We go to the stable, and now you can see two folders. One is packages, second is repo data. So repo data will have the metadata of this repository, and the packages will have all the RPM files. So let's open the packages. So it will have around 100 plus packages. So yeah, so this has 100 plus packages. There are so many packages. So this is just what? This is basically the Docker repository for CentOS. So if you basically try to synchronize the CentOS or Red Hat packages, so that will be several GBs. Okay, so if you try to synchronize PyPy repository, it will be in near to a terabyte. Okay, so there are repositories with several GBs and terabytes of size. So manual download is not a feasible option. So the only option is, the best option is either get like a DVD for the same or do the synchronization. DVD also has problem because we will not be able to periodically update the contents. It will be difficult to manage the updates. So the best option is to configure a mirror repository which is locally available and distribute the packages through the satellite or the mirror repository. Okay, so let's try doing the repo sync. So for doing the repo sync, first thing we need is we need to do yum install one package yum utils. Okay, so okay, it's already there, so I don't have to do anything. So it's showing yum utils, it's already installed. Okay, now let's create a directory. Okay, Okay, I'm creating a directory Docker. So I'm trying to download this repository in this folder Docker. And one thing to note is the packages that is listed here. So this looks like, I mean, it has more than 2 GB size. So this 2 GB data will get downloaded from my network, okay, to this machine. That means it will take that much time. So if you're downloading a larger repo, ensure you have enough time to sit in front of the machine or run it in a screen so that it will run in the background, and ensure the system is on so that it will download in the background. So otherwise, I mean, it will get stopped in between. Okay, and another thing is we need to ensure we have enough storage space in the machine to download all these packages. Let me check the storage space. So I am here and I have only 368 MB available. So let me delete something that I have already downloaded some time back. Okay, so I have already downloaded this repository some time back. So I am removing docker c repo. Okay, now let me check the size of this machine. Yeah, I have 5.2 GB, so I'll have enough space to download. So let's go into Kotlin boots docker. Okay, so now the command is reposync. So this is the command. So let us go to the help first. So what are the arguments here required in this particular command? So this has so many functionalities, it has so many arguments, it accepts so many arguments. So I'll tell you about the critical arguments that we need. So one is we need to specify where to download the data in the local path. So that is basically the argument is -p. Okay, then another important thing is when we went to the remote repository, we saw there are two things. One is repo data and the packages. So repo data is the metadata of these packages, and package is the RPM. So we can even recreate this repo data locally. But if you want to get this repo data as is from the cloud, we can basically use this option. There is an option somewhere, download metadata also. That will be somewhere you can. It will be some. Yes, this one, download metadata. Okay, so then next important thing is we need to tell this reposync which repo is required to be synchronized. Okay, so I think with these three arguments we will manage the synchronization. Okay, so now what is the name of our repository? So it is, let us refresh it again, the docker ce. So this is docker ce stable. This is the name of the repository, and ensure we have the repo file of this remote repository already added in the yum/etc yum.repos.d. We have similar steps for Ubuntu or any other operating system. I'm just explaining the one for CentOS. The same works in Red Hat, Rocky Linux, everything. Okay, so reposync. Okay, then -p. I'm saying let's download it here. -repo, and I'm saying this one. Okay, and what is the next option? Meta. Okay, so we have configured reposync synchronized to the local directory, then repo name docker ce stable, and download meta. Okay, now you can see it is refreshing this. Basically it picked up the right repository, and now it is downloading the packages one by one. It is downloading, there are 114 packages, and it is downloading one by one. So I have a good internet speed. That's the reason. So because I am right now trying it on a cloud machine, that's why it is getting downloaded very quickly. But the same may not be the case with the on-premise server. Reason, if the bandwidth is less, it may take more time. So ensure the screen is on, the machine is on till you complete. Otherwise you run it in a screen so that it runs in the background. So it's good. So now it's almost complete. So now you see here the repository got created. Now let's go into the docker ce table. Now you can see packages and repo data. See, this is something that we saw in the remote repository also, packages and repo data. The same got copied here. Let's go into the packages. Yeah, nice. So now everything is there in this packages. So all these packages are there in this packages, okay, directory. And if you go to repo data, So it has the repository metadata. So metadata also got downloaded. So now if you see this particular directory, okay, so this is basically a repo, a local copy of the repo. Okay, so now this is located within the home directory of root. Ideally it should not be present in the home directory of a user, so you can keep in a specific directory where it can be read by the services, or I mean you keep it in a space where I mean it has enough storage capacity. And then what we can do is we can create a repo file that refers, so let's say let's take about two situations. One is configuring a repository for the same machine. So let's say this is the machine and somehow we got the packages downloaded in a USB. Okay, USB and connected to the machine, and that data is available in this location. Okay, now let's create a repo file for that. So what I'll do is I'll copy, let's go to /etc m.repos.d cp docker ce repo c. I'll put local, I'll create a local version of it. And another thing that I'll do is I'll basically disable the original repo. So what I'll do is I'll disable this enabled equal to 0. That means this repository will not be available. Now let's docker ce local repo. What I'll do is I'll remove all these. Anyway, it's all disabled. Okay, and instead of this remote repository URL equal to file colon // okay, I have configured this location. Now let's make this check disabled. Okay, now let's refresh the mcache, clean all, this will refresh. Okay, now info docker ce. So let me do one thing. I have not renamed the docker ce repository, basically the local docker ce repository. So I'll rename it and I'll do this clean all again so that it will be clear to you. So you will be able to see the repository getting loaded here. Okay, so these are the remaining repositories which are enabled in the system. That's why, because when I did clean all, it cleared the cache in this machine. Now it is again synchronizing with the remote repositories and preparing the cache. Okay, so yeah, now if you see, this is basically installed from it's already installed and it is installed from a remote repository. So what I'll do is I'll basically make it C okay. Let us see. So what all repositories are getting loaded. It is again, I did the clean all again and it is loading the repositories one by one. Okay, so it is showing installed package. Okay, let's this is not helping us basically to show whether the local repository is activated or not. So what I'll do is I'll do remove, and before that I'll do one more thing. I'll basically rename this docker ce repo mv docker ce repo .bk and I'll change this name docker ce local. Okay, and this one I'll make it local. Yum remove docker. So now I am removing the docker ce from my local. So let it go. Now docker is not there. So let me try to install again yum clean all. Okay, it is cleaning again everything, and yum install c. Let's see how from where it is getting installed in this case. So now you can see it is synchronizing. Yeah, see now docker ce local repository. So this got synchronized now. Okay, so this is my local repository and it created it. It basically got synchronized. That means it is successful. Now it will see, you will see the installation will start. Yeah, so now you see docker ce. Okay, and from where it is coming? It is coming from local repository docker ce local, which is basically mounted on the disk of the same machine. Okay, and it has some other dependencies. So this docker related dependency, it will come from the same place from ce local, and the remaining dependencies are from the CentOS repositories. So it will download from the internet. Okay, so but if you have a local repo for the remaining repositories also, then it won't go to internet. It will again go to the same machines, same repository. Let's install. Yeah, now it's getting installed. It's happening very quickly, and it is getting installed. Okay, I hope this example is clear. So now the next scenario is basically this. Now what we have done installation of package with repository, local repository in the same machine. Local repository in the same machine. So let's say, like, I have already discussed in the part 1, we have a set of machines in one network. Okay, and we want to install packages. We want, basically there is no internet connection in all these machines, and we want a repository, a mirror repository for all these machines locally. Okay, so in that case what we'll do is we'll configure, we'll do the repo sync. Okay, and repo sync we can do like periodically. So this will be connected in the same to the same. It's not ideally, so from a network perspective it is not in this way. There will be like a switch. Okay, and to the switch all these machines will be connected. So it will be like this. All these machines will be connected to the switch. So basically there will be a local network established, can be established between all these machines, and there will be another switch that will be, so that will be connected to, that will basically enable the route to internet. Okay, so this will be like a different interface. There will be two interfaces in this machine. This will be interface 1, interface 2. Okay, and this interface will be a local interface, and the other interface will be public interface. Basically this will have internet access. So if you see all the other machines, these machines will not have any internet access. Let's say 1, 2, 3. There is no internet access because this will not have any outbound access to any of the public sites or domains or IP addresses. So this will be local, and this only machine, this will act as the gateway to this entire network. And this public access also, this will be not always connected. This will be connected only for doing the repo syncs and updates, and remaining time this will just again be just another private. This will be just part of connected to the local network alone, and it will be connected to the local network alone. It will not have internet access. Okay, so this is the structure, and in this case repository download process is similar. Okay, so the step to download the repository is similar. The only thing is the configuration, there will be a small change. Now if you see repos.d, yum.repos.d, okay, and docker c local repo. Here you can see it is mounted to, so it's mounted to the local disk. Okay, and but the problem is how will other machines access this repository? One option is, let's say, like, I mean, if you have a mount directory, like a NFS kind of thing, you can mount it to all the other machines. But another option is you can basically keep this in an Nginx or an HTTP Apache web root. Okay, so then what you will get, you will get a URL something like this. Okay, so you will be able to, so once you get a URL, once you keep in the document root of Nginx or CentOS, I mean Nginx or Apache, you will be able to get a local repository URL, like let's say 160.2, no, 1.2, okay, slash docker c, something like this you will be able to get. Okay, now you can configure this URL, okay, because you are placing the docker ce directory in the document root of a web server, and you can configure this URL in the repo file. Instead of this base URL, the local file path, you can configure the URL. That, since that is like a local IP which is accessible to all the machines in the local network, so what we'll do is assume this machine has an IP 192.168.1.2. okay, so this URL will be configured in the repo files of all these machines. Okay, so then when they do yum install, this will be interacting with this local repo machine. Okay, and the URL will be something like this. I hope you understand. And the similar approach is can be followed for Python, pip install, okay, the PyPy repository, and or Maven. Basically Maven, we can actually configure a local mirror that connects to the remote repositories, and we can use that to connect to all the other machines. Then similarly Ubuntu or any other Linux operating system, we can do this. I hope my explanation is clear, and if you have any questions or feedbacks, please comment on this video, so I'll definitely respond back to you.